And to really talk about Jaguars Black, we have to take it back before Jaguars Black and talk about our loyalty program that we had prior to that. So going back to 2014, we had a loyalty program where our season ticket members could choose basically 3 different buckets. They could choose a fan bucket, a family bucket, or a corporate bucket. And predominantly, everybody chose the fan one. But we noticed with our corporate bucket, only 7% of our accounts were identifying themselves as corporate, which either means they didn't value the assets that were in that corporate bucket, or we just weren't selling businesses. Then when we looked at the NFL league data, we noticed that we were only indexing about 20% of our accounts as corporate compared to about 30% of the accounts on the league average. So again, it meant one of 2 things. Either people were buying tickets and just putting them underneath their name, or we weren't selling enough businesses. So we decided to take a deep dive and really kind of reinvent our loyalty program, and that's where Jaguars Black was born from.
So the biggest key with Jaguars Black is it's a business-to-business program that's built for ROI. So everybody, when you're selling, when you're trying to sell business, ROI is the biggest thing. They've all got their plans of how they want to get a return on the investment. So the 4 pillars, the first one is what we call business consultants and our consulting services. All of our sales reps, myself and Sean included, up to executive management, we're all business consultants. So anytime, at any time, any of our Jaguars Black members, and a Jaguars Black member constitutes anybody who's in a premium seat from club seats or above, which encompasses about 9 different seating areas. So really anybody outside the general bowl. So they will call us and we'll bring them down to the office for lunch. We'll go to their office and see them. We'll stop by and see them at games. We'll meet them for a drink at a game. Anything to try to help them get the most out of their Jaguars tickets. Second thing is the Business Playbook, which is, I brought an example here. And the playbook is really A to Z, soup to nuts, how to use your tickets. From invitation process to making sure the right people are being there, ensuring they're having a great time, creating that wow moment, even down to, and I use this example a lot, is if you're having a suite, making sure that everyone in your suite doesn't have food allergies so you're not going to kill one of your clients, which we all know is very important. Next thing is our events and experiences. And so we'll do events throughout the year. We're averaging about 1 every 2 months now. Anything from a cigars and cocktails event to networking events throughout the Jacksonville area, to power lunches, executive chalk talks, something like that, just to get all the Jaguars Black members together. And then exposure recognition is a really big piece because it allows our business members to get the taste of a sponsorship program without paying multi-6 figures. And that was one of the biggest things we had to combat with our sponsorship department is they've got these guys again paying 6 figures, and our Jaguars Black members, some of them are paying just a few $1,000s, but allowing them to get a taste of it to grow into a sponsorship. And that's how we really sold it to them, to make sure that they were bought into it. So we'll do anything from our LinkedIn series, which we'll talk about a little bit later, where we'll do a business of the week, where we'll give them a 30-second spot to talk about how they're using their tickets. Not really a commercial for them, but kind of pushing Jaguars Black and how they're using it, all the way up to using our corner boards that we'll put 5 businesses a game up there just to kind of get their name in the stadium to give them that bit of exposure.
And the program has turned into a really great referral source for our sponsorship group too, because people get a taste of these assets, get really interested in it, and then how can they expand on that? So we've been able to monetize additional dollars just from them getting this little piece of exposure. So the most important thing, as David was talking about, was really the dedicated specialist. So we had to do a lot of training with our reps. We had to basically flip their process over and make sure that every single conversation that they were having was starting with Jaguars Black. So when the guy calls in for 4 end zone seats, don't just book the sale and take the credit card and be done with it. Ask, what are you using the tickets for? Are you using them for business? And then get into that conversation to make sure you're maximizing that spend. Really, the biggest piece of it, though, is our sales reps are going to give our clients the best practices. So we deal with thousands of accounts. We deal with thousands of businesses. And we know the best way for them to utilize the tickets. We know the best way for them to deliver a wow factor. We know the best way for them to deliver the tickets and really drive that ROI. So that's what our sales reps educate people on. And then we have 365-day service. So all of our accounts have both an account manager and a specialist, a member specialist. That's the service piece of it. So we have 2 different points of contact that they can contact at any point. So
moving to the playbook, as I showed you guys earlier, so there's 6 key steps. First, identifying the ideal user. What are you going to do with your tickets? Are you going to use them just for employee recognition? Are you going to use them for clients? Are you going to use them for prospects? we really focus on laying that plan out at the beginning of the year. NFL's a little different. We've only got 10 home games, so it's not as big as a baseball or a hockey or basketball. But you have to get the most impact out of our 10 games. So it's making sure they're splitting that up correctly. Then it's the invitation process. So you can make a phone call, hey Sean David, up at the Jaguars. I've got my suite for the game against the Vikings in December. Would you like to attend? Or do you send them a mini helmet with a handwritten note saying, hey, I've got this, give me a shout back, let me know if you'd like to come. And what it does is, a lot of times those voicemails won't get returned. But when you send something, it creates an obligation. And that's where we're seeing a lot of success. If they're not going to call you back, they're not the people you want to do business with anyway. But when they do call you back, it's because of an obligation you created. I sent you a gift, at least give me the respect to call me back. And that's what we're seeing a lot of success with.
So and that's the same process that we use for our prospecting events. So we don't just send a blank invitation to people. If we're having a really high-end prospecting event, I'll give you guys an example of one thing that we've done. It's Cutco knives. You know, they're really nice knives. People go door to door and try to sell them, but they're very expensive. We had those branded with company logos. I think it was probably about 200 companies in Jacksonville that we had really targeted, hadn't been able to open the door. We had it branded with their logo. We had it couriered to their office with a note that said, hey, we'd love to carve out some time and talk about your business. And we got a great response. It was probably the best prospecting response that we have ever gotten.
We had a 6-figure ROI.
Right.
And which is what everybody wants.
But it creates the obligation for the people to at least contact you, thank you for the gift, and then you can have a good attendance at your prospecting. So that's the same thing that we talk to our clients about. We want them to deliver that invitation in a way that it creates the obligation for people to call them.
Next is the delivery of the tickets and actually my sleeve out. We actually had custom made sleeves, and whoever find me on LinkedIn, we'll send you a sample, but it's a nice ticket envelope. It's got a slot for a handwritten note in it, your business card, and it really shows them that you really care, as opposed to just throwing a couple tickets in an envelope, as opposed to saying, hey, we'll see you at the game on Sunday. Again, it's creating that experience leading up to the game and then creating that wow moment. I'll use an example. We have a suite owner that's been with us since the beginning, but they were starting to fall back. They weren't using their suite as much, and so we sat down with them. They're up for renewal next year, so we started the process early and said, what can we do to make sure you guys are getting the best use out of your suite? And again, the consulting service coming in. And so they said, well, we want to do a theme. So well, how about this? We've got we're doing a beer festival. How about we do a guys' night out? Bring in 20 of your clients. We'll do pint glasses, we'll do a beer tasting, and then we'll create some experience for you guys that will allow them to really remember you guys. And so what we ended up being able to do is we talked with our football ops department, our event staff. We were able to actually secure spots for them to raise the field goal nets. And so rotating throughout the game, they were able to go down every quarter and hoist the nets after every kick. I mean, that's the definition of a wow experience. Now for them it worked. For John Smith of Bob's Barricades, it may be he brings his kid to the game once a year, and going to the game, me hand delivering a pair of gloves to him. The kid is going to absolutely be over the moon happy, and the father's happy because he made the kid happy. So it's creating those experiences. Everybody can go to a game. Everybody can go buy tickets to a game. You can't buy those experiences. Really? Next is tracking ticket usage, and that again is part of the playbook, where we'll literally have we send everybody an Excel spreadsheet with every game. It's who's coming, why are they coming, are they a current client, are they a prospect, are they a guest, are they an employee, what's their current spend, what is their potential spend, and then also one of the things we're focusing on now with this is what can their lifetime spend be? And again, going back to ROI, a lot of people will look at, well, they spent $10,000 with us this year. Well, I consider that a success, but I don't know what that's based off of because I don't know what a good sale for you is. But what's that $10,000 extrapolated over the next 20 years to keep them as a client by doing things like this? So stressing lifetime value is also very important with the tracking too. And then following up, that's one of the things, and being transparent, that's one of the things we fell down last year when we introduced this program, is the follow-up process when we were doing things, delivering tickets. We have a suite at the arena across from our stadium, and we weren't following up with the prospects we had in an appropriate manner. Now we have a strict process in place where everybody's followed up at every event within 24 hours. And we try to preach that to our clients as well when we meet. And then,
so we talked about the exclusive events and experiences. So some of the things that we put into this Jaguar Black package is networking events. So we have a cigars and cocktails event which is pretty cool and unique. We do like a whiskey tasting and have cigars out there, and it's usually kind of C-level business members that are out there enjoying that. So we also have executive chalk talks. We're very lucky in the fact that our front office and our football operations side is pretty accessible. Our head coach is awesome, does really good presentations, and is usually willing to do these things for us, so we have great access with that. We have a power lunch series too that we execute usually 2 to 3 times a year. We try and make it relevant topics for the city of Jacksonville. So obviously we can talk about our brand, we can talk about our product, we can talk about what's happening in our building, but then we also try and incorporate big businesses that are in Jacksonville, such as CSX, and having their CEO come out and talk about what's happening with their brand. And we try to make those as big as possible. Get the A-list, to get the A-list, this one doesn't work much better.
Give me one.
To get the A-list season ticket members out there. And then the in-season experiences, pre-game sideline access, which is awesome for us. We can take people on the field. They can watch pre-game warm-ups. They can stand right next to all the NFL players, and it's a pretty good wow factor for them. Our prowl is when our players come out of our locker room and they actually enter underneath the stadium, out behind the field goal post. So we'll have our season ticket members actually lead that and lead the team onto the field, which is really, really cool. And a lot of times it's not actually the season ticket members that are doing this. When it's businesses, they're giving that to their clients to do, so they can drive their ROI from that. And then the last thing is locker room tours. We do a lot of locker room tours. Really simple to execute. We can fit like 2,000 people in each locker room tour. It's just a line that kind of goes through. But businesses love it because it's unique access for and a lot of times it's their employees. They'll give it out to their employee base and they'll come through the locker room tour and really, really enjoy it.
And playing off that a little bit, and that's a big access point, and a lot of people have issues with getting locker room access, especially NFL, because they're there during the week. And one thing that we do is when we do the series, it's every away game weekend that we have. So we've coordinated with our equipment staff, with our coaching staff, that an hour after the team leaves for the trip, we have a locker room for the rest of that day. So we'll do locker room tours from 2 to 6 o'clock at night and get those 2,000 people through. And one of the other keys for this is we talked about kind of current clients and what we do to engage them, but also using a lot of these events and assets for prospects. So like the Cocktails and Cigars event, we'll make sure we'll have 50 or 60 prospects at that event so they can experience what they get as a Jaguars Black member, but also they can talk to current members and mingle with them and see what they're getting out of it. So that's also a very key aspect of it. The exposure recognition piece, one of the biggest things that we're doing right now is really focusing on LinkedIn content. And everybody knows LinkedIn is probably one of the biggest ways that businesses are engaging right now. So we're doing a Business of the Week campaign where we're actually going in and having all of our clients come in and film that 30-second piece and pushing out not only LinkedIn, but on our website, on Facebook, on all of our social media accounts. We're doing stuff in the Jacksonville Business Journal where we've actually bought a panel ad for every week, and we'll do a executive kind of summary. So one of our team executives will write a paragraph on the left side of the page. On the right side of the page, we'll have 3 business leaders that are members of Jaguars Black kind of chime in on the same topic that's relevant to them. And our Jaguars Black book is something that we're pushing more this year. We got some good engagement last year, but I think we can push it a lot more. And that's your business Rolodex. So that's allowing every single Jaguars Black business member to have access to all the Jaguars Black business members. And outside of the events that we're hosting, because not everybody can come to the events. Your C-level guys aren't coming to the events, but they can peruse through the Black Book and find like-minded individuals they can reach out to, schedule their own lunches. They're looking for an air conditioning contractor or painter. We want to facilitate business through the Jaguars. And that's what the Black Book has been able to help us do.
And the LinkedIn content is pretty cool stuff. I mean, it's only a minute to 90 seconds and it's not like, hey, this is ABC business and this is what we do. It's a unique story that kind of drives the point of what their business is all about. And we promote that through our LinkedIn, and we have some of our executives do it as well.
Yeah, man, we've got, and anybody, again, I mentioned LinkedIn before, look me up on LinkedIn. I share everything that the Jaguars do with these business of the week things. So take a look at them. One of them uses an example, and it goes to this, is a company called Flightstar Aircraft. And so Flightstar, they renovate airplanes for Delta, American Airlines, all the big guys. They started out with us a number of years ago in just general bowl seats. 2 years ago, they went in and they went into our all-inclusive. They bought 6 seats in our all-inclusive club, which was a big spend for them because they don't have a lot of local clients. It's all flying people in. We introduced Jaguars Black at the beginning of last year. So by the way, this program's only just over a year old. We introduced it in April of 2015. So we showed them the program, showed them what we could do, and I was trying to get them into a suite. I knew they had the money, but I knew it was going to be a little difficult to get them in there. They wouldn't commit to the full suite, but I found a partner for them, so they shared a suite. This year, they saw the benefit of Jaguars Black and upgraded their full suite. So that's really, I mean, they went from spending $5,000 or $6,000 to about $20,000. Now spending in excess of $100,000. So that really kind of shows that this process does work, and it's not for every team. There are a lot of teams that don't need this, but there's certain pieces that can help every single team out there, regardless if you're college, pro, basketball, football, baseball, whatever it is.
So lead generation is another huge piece of Jaguars Black, and for us, it's been a great thing for our sales reps to follow up on and flip the switch and start talking about Jaguars Black to businesses. So 2 different things that we do. One is small business breakthrough, and the other is the ultimate business makeover. Both of them, we combine some of our marketing assets and in-stadium assets, and we host a contest. People and businesses in Jacksonville can apply for it. They'll basically get a marketing package that would include game day assets, using some of our media that we have through the paper or the Jacksonville Business Journal, content displays on our website, in stadium during game, getting their logo up on the video boards. We have the world's largest video board, so people definitely want their logo up there. And people sign up for this, companies sign up for it. We get thousands of leads from it, and only one company wins. Last year was a guy that made sunglasses out of recycled skateboards. So pretty cool product, you know, and those are the kind of products that we really go after and kind of research. But then everybody else who didn't win, we follow up with them from a Jaguars Black standpoint. Hey, I know you didn't win the small business breakthrough, but here's what we can do. We got this program, Jaguars Black, and here's how you can get access to some of those assets. So it works very, very well for us. So it's a huge lead generation source for us. David talked about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a huge thing for us because we put a lot of content out there. And we also train our sales reps to use LinkedIn as a referral source on there as well. Connect with other season ticket members on LinkedIn, conversate through LinkedIn, send them messages. We use Sales Navigator too. So, and then we have client referral incentives. We actually pay our season ticket members for referrals. So they get $25 per seat for a general bowl seat and $100 for a premium seat. And we write those checks every single month. And I think last year we gave out like 60 grand.
Yep.
And
it's cold hard cash.
Yeah. So and we advertise that, and all of our season ticket members know about it too. So. And then advertising, we do a lot of advertising through LinkedIn. We're like really creepy data guys. So
we're not creepy data guys. We have
really creepy smart guys in the corner that like feed us great leads. But yeah, so if anybody's familiar with Blue Kai, it's basically a huge data aggregator that you pay for this service. And what it does is if you click on any of our content, it kind of follows you around to different websites that you're going to and looks and sees what you're looking at. And then we run it through our pending system, and we append you and we score you, and we figure out what kind of person you are. And then we start serving you content on LinkedIn for the certain things that you'd be interested in. So we would know that you're a 20-something business person with a medium discretionary income in Jacksonville, and we start serving you ads about Jaguars Black. And then once somebody clicks on one of those ads, it actually talks to our CRM system, gets filtered up through to the sales reps, says, hey, this is a hot lead, this guy clicked on the Jaguars Black ad. So within a 24-hour period, somebody would click on that ad, they would get put into our CRM, and a rep would be calling them. So that's a great source for us.
And to play off that for a second, having nothing to do with Jaguars Black, but going a little bit on social media, and the way it aggregates the data is it goes through, so it hits your LinkedIn page, it hits your Facebook page, it hits every Instagram, everything that you do. So I know when I got into business, one thing somebody told me is make sure your Facebook is clean. This is the perfect reason why. I had no idea this could happen until we got the software. It's watching you. It's really scary.
But it's a great sales tool. And we have event and access-based offers, so we'll throw offers out there to businesses to get access to field passes or to free tickets for a game, and they'll sign up for it. And then we also have a white paper survey strategy where we did this when we launched Jaguars Black, and we asked people, here's all the assets that we're thinking about, including in Jaguars Black. Which of these assets would you like, and can you rank them for us and tell us what would be most important? So they went through this survey, we gathered data from them, we sent them back a white paper after they were done, said here's the results of your survey, here's how you rank, compare, or score compared to other business leaders in the Jacksonville area. Then all that data was fed to us and we follow up with them. So there's a lot of one of the biggest things about Jaguars Black, aside from the retention piece of it, is this lead generation piece of it.
And just talking about some numbers, we're very transparent when we talk about numbers. Jaguars Black, so since the end of 2014, we've seen a 12% increase just in new business sales. With the industry of Jaguars Black, which is attributed about $600,000 in business. That doesn't count renewal business. I can attribute almost another $700,000 in renewal business to this. It's just based on some sweet deals on close. Based on guys like we've done the stuff we talked about with the special experience with the beer festival and the hiking of, the raising the field goal nets. Lunches we've done at the stadium, stuff like that. So that's just new business at $600,000 just over a year. One of the things, and again, going to that, retention is the biggest thing right now. For Jacksonville, we have the second most transient market in the NFL because of our military base. So we have to go out every year and sell between 6,000 and 8,000 new season tickets before we even worry about attrition from people just not wanting to come to Jaguars games for various other reasons, just because of how transient we are. So the retention piece on the business side for us is key, which is another one of the reasons why we developed this program, and you can see it's working. And then, again, developing the business audience, we've gotten that from 20% on the 30% NFL average. I think we're at like 34% now. So just over a year, we're up 14%. And we just see that growing because of the things that we're doing, because of the creative package we're putting together. And with the business consulting service, we're sitting there and evaluating. We're not just saying, hey, you should buy 4 seats in an all-inclusive club. You should buy a suite. It's saying, what do you want to do? And you know what? Maybe it's not spending $100,000 the first year. We all want that $100,000 sale, $200,000 sale. But I'd rather have $50,000 this year, $60,000 next year, and increasing in perpetuity as opposed to a $100,000 sale this year, and they won't pick up my phone call next year. And so that's what we're really focusing on.
So, and with this program too, there was a lot of unknown going into it. So we didn't know all this content that we were going to be pushing out. We didn't know that we're going to have to run special articles in the Jacksonville Business Journal to really drive home the message to businesses. So there was some incremental costs with it too. We had to go out and we had to hire a new digital media person that was going to do all this content for us. We had to go hire a new PR person that was going to go out and talk to the Business Journal and talk to the Times Union and get these articles posted for us. So to really help drive results. Now those people work on other projects besides Jaguars Black, but there was some additional staffing and headcount associated with it too.
So with that, we want to kind of open dialogue and talk to any questions you guys have and kind of make this a little open forum.
So is your Jaguars Black, is it priced differently than your premium package, or is it like an opt-in?
No, everybody who has a premium seat with us is a member of Jaguars Black. And it's at no cost. And one of the things we're doing this year is we had somebody come in and really bring something up to us. Is that not everybody who has club seats, who has our all-inclusive as a suite, is a business owner. A lot of them are individuals or families. So what we're doing right now is we just brought in somebody new who's going to kind of handle our membership relations for all of our season ticket members, but also ramping this up. And she's actually going to now split out a personal membership versus a business membership and make sure that we're having events that cater to both of them.
And it's constantly evolving. So, we started 3 years ago with the 3 different buckets, fan, family, or business. Now we've switched it from Jags 365, which is basically mostly fan-based and access-based, to Jaguars Black. And now we're going to continue to segment down Jaguars Black to people who are in those premium seats, but I'm just a guy that has money and I bought 2 premium seats. I'm not a business. I don't need all those assets and content and stuff. So there's going to be separate packages for that.
What are the events that you guys are doing in the off season, since you essentially have about a 6-month off season from when it's over?
So where are they, or
What are they?
What are they? So it's anything from the cigars and cocktails, the Power Lunch series. We're hosting networking events at restaurants around Jacksonville and bars. We're doing some like mini camp stuff where we'll have families and kids come out and run drills like the players would. The locker room tours are one of the big pieces that we'll do now. With this month is difficult for us now because of access to stadium. We're also going to do a $25 million renovation, so a lot of stadiums are shut off, so we can focus on doing some stuff out. But also right now, one of the biggest things is doing business hard hat tours. Not everybody can have the access to do that, but for us, it's been great right now. Everybody loves coming in, putting on a great green vest, safety goggles, and a helmet, and walking through a live construction site.
We've rented out restaurants in Jacksonville for our Jaguars Black members and hosted a really high-end, upscale meal for them, and then invited prospects out to it too. Everything that we do with those events, there's always the Jaguars Black component of our current season ticket members, and then there's a prospecting component. So we always have prospects at all these events. For us, it's the best way to sell because prospects see our current clients and hear the testimonials of what's going on and are talking to another business that they might know from Jacksonville, how great the program is and how well it's working for them. It just helps us sell.
And I guess just as a follow-up, how often in the off-season are you hosting an event versus in the season?
It really doesn't change all that much. We consistently try to do every other month.
Okay.
We want to keep them on a schedule, and that's another thing that we're going to start creating signature events. That's one of our other goals this year. Is there's 2 or 3 events every year that start to expect. So the cigars and cocktails is something that we've done over the past few years that everybody loves because we have all the big wine and distributors come in and they do a big sample. We've got a great cigar manufacturer. We'll custom blend cigars for us for this night, which is really cool. They'll come back with a whole band on and it'll be fun. But that's where we're at. It's once every 2 months throughout the year, but the focus issue is creating signature events.
And then behind all those events are surveys. So we have Eloqua as our system for all the events. So that when we send out an invitation digitally, it goes through Eloqua. We track all the RSVPs through that. Post-event, people that come out to the event, we said thank you for attending and take a survey and let us know what you thought about the event. Because again, this is constantly evolving. So if they didn't find value in that event that we had, then we're going to knock that one out. We're going to try a different one next time. But to David's point, every single year we want to keep building on this and keep the ones that work and then drop the ones that don't.
For your small business breakthrough, I think that's brilliant. And I'm curious with the businesses that didn't get the package that you followed up with, how was their response? Were they receptive to it? Did they appreciate that you were following up? Did you get a good chunk of business out of that?
Yes, so we didn't break the news to them, we let our marketing department do it. So by the time we called them, it was a few days later, and we said, hey, I'm sorry you didn't win, your product was really cool, tell me a little bit about it, blah, blah, blah. And then they kind of start the conversation into Jaguars Black. And yeah, we had really good results from it. Now these are a lot of startup businesses, so they're not buying super high-end seats. A lot of times it equates to some general bowl seats that they were starting at, and then we're going to try and filter them up into the premium down the road, but it was really successful for us.
Well, I think it's a great way to open the door to a lot of businesses that wouldn't otherwise consider you guys or any of us for driving their business.
Yeah.
I know in Charlotte, the companies that are starting there and moving there are just hundreds of thousands of companies. It's a great, I love that idea.
And I think a lot of it is people don't know what we all have to offer. They just think that's what gets to sell. And that's what the key to this is getting this out. That's why we're doing a lot of the LinkedIn and the business stuff in Jacksonville Business Journal is to make sure that the word is getting out there, that we're not just tickets. We are a tool to use to help you guys generate business, to help you grow your business. And it speaks great to that one, especially in the Charlotte market, which I know is growing fast. Jacksonville's growing not on that pace, but it's really very similar.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Just a quick question on that. Well, how did you guys run the registration?
It's all through marketing. So we have a great marketing department. They're awesome. They work. Everything that our marketing department does is to generate leads and sales for us. That's their complete mindset, which is great. It's not always like that in every organization. But they run all that. They put it all together. Our owner actually flies in for the final judging. So I think they narrow it down to like 10 businesses.
It's like a Shark Tank. They actually, our president, our owner, the head web.com is the big sponsor, so the president of web.com, and they'll have a couple local celebrities up there. We'll sit up there and judge everything.
And then we take that content and post it on our website.
So it had to be the owner of the business that actually entered it.
Right. Correct. So they're getting, when it comes down to it, they're submitting a business plan, and then once it's whittled down, they're sitting in the video, and then they're actually getting up in front and doing a presentation and showing stuff. That's our cue. We're done.
Thank you.